Hello, Captains. This is the Doctor, and welcome to another Star Trek Online Starship review. Today, I have for you the 31st Century Temporal Raider Tier 6 Starship Ouroboros class. Are you ready? Let's go. Well, hello fellow captains, it is the Doctor once again, and once again I have a very cool starship to review for you today. This of course continues in the 31st Century line of starships, which I already have reviewed a couple of. This is the third and final 31st Century ship that I will be reviewing. I have done the Temporal science vessel, which I'll put a link to up top. You can check out. That was the science version. Then there is a cruiser version, a dreadnought. I will post a link up there as well. You can go check out both reviews on both of those other 31st Century Temporal ships. And in this one, we are at the escort version of the ship. This is actually a raider, is what this one is called, and that means that it has that special raider flanking function. So that's something you should know about that. It is technically a raider, and you definitely want to fly this on an escorty type of character, such as a tactical officer. You will find that this ship can be extremely powerful. However, you've got to watch out, because it may be able to do a ton of damage, and let me tell you, it can. But it is the epitome of a glass cannon. It is extremely breakable. Extremely. More so than I would have liked, actually. But I'll get into that a little bit more. So as I'm flying around here, you can see the visuals on it. This is the default configuration, the default view on it. Looks very similar to the other 31st century ships in its form. It is very Raider-like. Almost reminds me of a Batwing, like a Batman Batwing. It's actually a really cool design. It has very sharp lines that come to these extremely sharp, pointy edges. I mean, just look at the front of this thing. Look at that sharpness, the edge on that. Almost like a claw or something. I mean, that just screams deadly. The ship just looks like it wants to hurt you just by looking at the ship. I mean, if you could imagine like trying to hold this in your hand, if it were small enough, all these sharp edges would just cut your hand like a knife. That's how I view this ship. It is able to cut through the enemy like a knife. Yeah, it's got a really good design. It's a smaller ship because it's a raider, so it's not the size of that cruiser dreadnought ship we just looked at. That one was huge. This ship is very small, which means, as you can see, I'm out here like drifting in space. Look at the back end of that ship. It's drifting. I mean, my front end is like, or the middle part is like staying in one position, and like the ship is rotating around it. That is an amazing amount of maneuverability right there. Look at that. I mean, that is just crazy. And that's what you get with smaller ships like this that are extremely maneuverable. So for those like me who really like a maneuverable ship, this ship will fit right up your alley in terms of maneuverability. In terms of size, because that is important, of course, like I said, it's a smaller ship. That means your play style generally will mean that you're going to be zoomed in more on the enemy rather than zoomed out very far. For example, here's the maximum zoom in that you can do on the ship. If I zoom out all the way, see how small it is when I zoom out all the way? So that kind of shows you that your play style will be a little bit more of a zoomed in play style rather than zoomed all the way back. It's just not that type of ship. You want to be able to actually see what you're doing with this ship, because you can get into a situation where if you are zoomed all the way out with this ship, you might not even know what direction you're going in anymore, because the ship turns so awesomely quickly that you could flip around and turn and be in all kinds of different directions and may not be able to even know where you're going. So you do want to zoom in just a little bit so you can see the ship and see what's going on. But as for a size comparison, like here's an Enterprise E. We all know the Sovereign. I'm going to get up close to this ship if I can. It's kind of a size comparison, not a great one, but it's not as small as you would think. It's not like a really tiny ship. It's about half the size of a Sovereign, I guess, lengthwise. And of course it's wider because of the wings, but lengthwise about half the size of a Sovereign. If I put this thing up to, oh, here we go. Here's somebody's got, what ship is this? This is the, this is the Paradox. That's what I thought. Oh, it went away. Darn it. Here's a Defiant. This will give you a good comparison. You can see this this ship is bigger than a Defiant, but not so much massively bigger than a Defiant. Maybe like 2 Defiants in mass or something like that. I don't know. I'm just saying. My point is, not a huge ship, so you are able to maneuver very well and get into tight spots. So let's pull out here for a minute outside of ESD, and let's read about this ship. Let's get all our facts in our heads before we go looking at things. Let's go to the Z store, because that is where you get this ship, Tier 6, and we'll scroll down. It's an Ouroboros class is what it's called. Here we go, Temporal Raider. The Ouroboros raider from the future puts fear into the hearts of her enemies, and Ouroboros brings potent weaponry and tactical systems to the fight in whatever era she's deployed in, making the raider a valuable asset in the temporal Cold War. The starship features a Commander Universal Temporal Operative Bridge Officer Station and a Lieutenant Universal / Temporal Operative Bridge Officer Station. Temporal starships are capable of making subtle alterations on the molecular level. I'm not going to go through this whole stint again because every temporal ship has the molecular reconfigurator beam thingamajig. If you are not familiar with this, watch some of my previous temporal starship reviews where I go over this, and I'll demonstrate it on this ship too. Simply put, every temporal starship, if it's called a temporal starship, this also includes the 26th century ships and the TOS temporal ships, they all have molecular reconstruction. And I find it to be a very useful power. It's basically another weapon. Just think of it as extra weaponry on your ship. And it is very powerful once it's built up to its maximum level. It does do a lot of damage. So obviously it's got the defense, offensive, and support configurations. I like the offensive configuration, especially on this ship. I don't want to diminish my shield healing or my potential for healing my shields or my regeneration rates or anything like that. Like I said, this ship is very glassy, so I don't want to sacrifice those things. I actually need my shield and hull regeneration very high on this ship, and you will want shield healing and hull healing also very high on this ship. Will help you a lot, trust me. The Temporal Raider comes equipped with the Tactical System Stabilizer Universal Console. While this console is equipped, your starship is capable of activating an ability that will overcharge your starship's weapon systems and tactical computers for a short time. While active, your weapon cycle haste is dramatically increased, and your bridge officer recharge times are reduced slightly every few seconds. The console also provides a passive bonus to directed energy weapon damage and tactical readiness skill. After reaching level 5 in your Temporal Raiders Mastery, you will unlock the Regroup Starship trait. While this trait is slotted, your attack pattern bridge officer abilities will reduce the recharge time on engineering and temporal operative bridge officer abilities. Now, why did they tie in the mastery to an engineering ability on a tactical ship, you ask? Well, quite simply, just what I said before. It's a glass cannon. You really want to have engineering team or emergency power to structural integrity field or something like that on this ship to heal your hull. You're going to need it. You're really going to need it. So it makes sense that this Starship Mastery will reduce the recharge time on engineering abilities, because you're going to be using those to heal yourself quite a bit. Unless, now you can sort of make it buffed up enough that maybe that's not necessary, but of course you might be sacrificing other things to do that. I mean, obviously everybody's going to, build the ship differently, and you're going to have different opinions about what you want or need on the ship. So that's just going to vary, but overall, it's a glass cannon. And it does have Temporal Operative Bridge Officer abilities. Now, I don't have any right now to demonstrate on this ship for you, but in the future, perhaps I will dabble into the Temporal Operative Bridge Officer abilities. The hull strength on this ship, you see, is 30,360 at level 50, 35,200 at level 60. So the hull strength already is very low. It only has a .925 shield modifier. 4 forward weapons and only 2 aft, so you're not going to get those 3 aft. It's not the absolute best escorty setup. Like, I would love to have 3 aft on this, but still, even with 2 aft, this thing is still very powerful. You have 1 Lieutenant Universal / Temporal Operative slot, 2 Lieutenant Commander Universals, and then 1 Commander Universal / Temporal Operative. Notice all those universals? That's right. This thing can be decked out any way, shape, or form you want. Universals, man, up the wazoo. That's incredible. I mean, you are not locked into anything on this ship. You can use whatever bridge officer setup you want. You can use temporal abilities. I mean, what's better? So it's very flexible. I mean, extremely flexible. It has 5 tactical console slots, so that's leaning to its ability to do just a whole bunch of DPS. That's what this ship is meant to do. DPS is a DPS ship. 3 engineering, 3 science. Pretty balanced there, actually. 3 engineering and 3 science. That means with 3 engineering, you can actually buff it up a little bit so that it's not so glassy. And I have actually done that on my build so that I can survive just a little bit longer. And I'll show you what consoles I'm using for that. They might not be the absolute best, but combined together, it actually does make a difference. The base turn rate, though, this is where this ship really excels. 22.5 degrees per second, flat out base turn rate. That's awesome. Impulse modifier 0.23, inertia 80, plus 15 to weapons, and plus 5 to engines. Dual cannons, it has a battle cloaking device. So this thing is battle ready, battle cloaking device. That's awesome to see on a ship like this. The tactical system stabilizer, and what I was talking about before, this ship has raider flanking because it's a raider ship. Now, in my reviews, I haven't really talked a whole lot about raider flanking because most of the ships I get don't have raider flanking. You generally see raider flanking more so on KDF ships. But this ship has it because this is a raider. What that means is you get plus 25% damage when attacking an NPC's enemy's rear arc. So if you're attacking the enemy from the rear arc, getting right up behind him and shooting him in the butt, you're going to get plus 25% damage. Holy Hannah. I mean, wow, that's a lot for just shooting him in the rear. That's a lot of damage for just shooting somebody in the rear. Now, when you are attacking a player's enemy's rear arc, it's plus 8.33% damage. So they are thinking about PvP with this ship, but you're going to get less damage versus a player versus an NPC. So if you're going to just play the game and not, do PvP or anything, you're going to get the most damage with NPCs. Awesome. So that means you really want to creep up behind the enemy and shoot him in the butt. And that's where the cloaking device comes in handy. Sneak up to them with the battle cloak and charge up all your weapons, because you can do that while you're in battle cloak. Decloak and shoot him in the butt. And everybody be dead in like 5 seconds or less. It's pretty awesome, I gotta say. Now, here's the traits. We have precise weapon systems, which is accuracy, tactical maneuvering, which is defense, enhanced weapon systems, which is all damage, like it needed more, but it does. It has an all damage buff with one of the traits. Enhanced weapon banks is crit severity, more damage, heck yes. And then the starship trait regroup. Just an amazing amount of features. Again, it's classy. It can break, but it can just totally annihilate the enemy too. And let me tell you, it does. So what I'm going to do next is show you my current build and go over my specs and stats and all of that stuff before we go into battle and show you what it's capable of. Naturally, as I bring up my build here, this is not the one true only build that works. You can design this ship any way you want. Disclaimer, my build may not be perfect, may not be the best. You may hate everything you see. That's okay. This build is working for me. Are there improvements I could make? Certainly. I admit that. You are welcome to take this ship and design it your own way and have fun with it. Now, one of my goals, like I said, was to buff it just a little bit so that I wasn't so glassy. I was not liking how much I was dying in this ship. So I did some things to mitigate that. In fact, one of those things is to replay a mission under Future Proof. It's the last one, called Ragnarok, and get the Trillium D console. That Trillium D console is, in my opinion, a must for this ship. An absolute must. Now, this might be controversial, but if you combine it with a neutronium, which, yes, has resistance, and you may ask yourself, who still uses resistance? Well, if you combine that with the Trillium D, you do have a heightened resistance, but then you still have all those benefits of the Trillium D console, and you put them together, and it really does help with this ship. And I'll show you that. So that's something I have done just to make it a little less glassy, I guess you could say. So this, first of all, this is my character, the War Doctor. He is my tactical character. You don't see him much. I haven't done a whole lot of escorty reviews, and I really need to do more. But this is my tactical character. He is the character that I put all my escorts on. So this ship fits perfectly on him. He's totally geared to do Iconian reputation stuff. So he's got Iconian reputation on ground and space. And I've upgraded him pretty well on space. Not all of my weapons are upgraded yet to epic level, but they are upgraded. Everything's Mark 14, and my consoles are all upgraded. There is still some more work I need to do on this character, but he's pretty well suited to take on any in-game content. Really don't have any problems. Way up there in the damage department with this ship, so really not a concern. Let's see what else before I show you the build. Oh yes, I'm using phasers. Specifically Andorian phasers, and you're going to ask yourself, why are you using Andorian phasers? Well, okay, back in the day when I first constructed this character, one of the new ships at the time was the Andorian ship. That was like the brand new ship at the time, and I got it for this character, and I equipped those Andorian phasers. And I went to the fleet and got fleet version of Andorian phasers. And since then, that's just the build that I've had on this character. And I've taken, the resources to maximize and upgrade everything based on that phaser build. And to be honest, a phaser build can be very powerful in this game. I think it's a very underrated thing. A lot of people are like, why use phasers? That's just a common thing. But let me tell you, there are some good weapon sets that complement phasers in this game, and it can make phaser-based technology or phaser-based energy type very powerful. And you'll see that on this ship because I'm using that on this ship like I do all my escorts. So let me bring up the build. Here it is. This is it. So what you see is, first of all, I have the Iconian Resistance Deflector Dish. I've got the Iconian Resistance Hyper Impulse Engine. I got the Iconian Resistance Hyper Injection Warp Core. And I got the Iconian Resistance Resilient Shield. So I've got the complete space set of the Iconian Resistance Reputation, all maximized to Mark 14 Epic. That means I'm benefiting from all the bonuses. I have the Set 2 bonus called Enhanced Shield Distribution, the Set 3 bonus called Energy Augmentation Actuator, and then the Set 4 bonus, which really makes this whole set powerful, and that's the Radiant Subatomic Pulse. Here it is. This is a Radiant Subatomic Pulse. To team and yourself. It words it strange. It should say to team and self, but above that it does say affect friend and self. You gain plus 33% all damage for 30 seconds. So that's right. Now remember, my Raider flanking is giving me what, plus 25? So I can get even more damage on the enemy by turning on Radiant Subatomic Pulse. Hit this and sneak up behind somebody and shoot him in the rear. Now I'm doing plus 25 damage and then plus 33%. all damage. And that's just those two abilities alone, not even to mention all the other buffs I have, like, for example, Tactical Fleet, which also increases all damage. Check that out. And then remember, there's a Mastery in the ship that you can unlock that also increases all damage. Oh my gosh, my all damage is like going through the roof. So you can see where this is going, folks. You can really see where this is going. Alright, so as for the other sets that I was talking about, one of the sets that I have, and I find this very powerful, if you're going to use phaser energy type, you have to get the Quantum Phase Catalyst set. This set includes the Quantum Phase Torpedo. It includes the weapon, the torpedo, and the converter. So here's the Quantum Phase Dual Heavy Cannons, and then it's got a converter. Which one of these is it? It's this one, the Quantum Phase Converter. All three of these things give me what's called a phase transfer optimizations, which is more accuracy and doubles the potency of the Quantum Phase Torpedo, but it also gives me this Quantum Destabilizing Beam. So it's phaser damage as well. So this is basically another weapon on my ship, and it's doing phaser damage, so it's being buffed by all my tactical consoles. So I not only have all my dual heavy cannons up front, I now have two extra weapons on this ship. I have the Destabilizing Beam from the Catalyst set I just showed you, and because it's a temporal ship, I have the Molecular Deconstruction Beam. So I literally have two extra powerful weapons on this ship, in addition to the good old dual heavy cannons and turrets in the back. So that's what the ship can do, but then I've got these two other weapons too I can use with this ship. So a massive array of abilities for a little tiny raider, huh? I mean, it's just a little tiny raider, but it can do so much. So these are my Andorian dual heavy cannons up front, and then that's the Quantum Phase one for the set, and the Quantum Phase Torpedo, and then just two Andorian phaser turrets in the back. That'll help with forward firepower and all that. Now you can see what I have done here in the engineering section. I am using the Neutronium, plus 25 kinetic and all energy damage resistance. I know a lot of people don't find resistance useful these days, but this does also increase hull capacity, so that is something. And if I combine that with the Trellium D console I was telling you about, it does add up to a lot more resistance, because this has plus 16.7 all energy damage resistance and kinetic damage resistance, and an even higher starship hull capacity. So I got two hull capacity buffs right there, and all damage and kinetic buffs as well. Plus, this also buffs my shield capacity also. And it adds aux power to your shield power, which will help because I really need to regen my shields a lot faster on this ship. So those two consoles combined increase my resistance and my shields and my shield power and my hull strength. So they actually do quite a bit when combined together. I have another console that's actually also buffing shield capacity. This one here has a plus 25% maximum shield capacity. This is the Temporal Disentanglement Suite. I'm not using the whole set on this. I'm just using the one console because this increases power, auxiliary power settings. But more importantly, it gives me a higher critical chance and critical severity based on my auxiliary power. So that's something I definitely want, you know, on a ship like this. And then, of course, I've got the Quantum Phase Converter, which is part of the Catalyst, the Phase Catalyst set. And one thing here also to note with this, I forgot to say a second ago, this console by itself increases phaser damage as well, plus 25% phaser damage. So what I end up having in essence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consoles down here increasing phaser damage, And here's a sixth one, increasing phaser damage. It's basically like having 6 tactical consoles instead of 5 on this ship. I've got 6 consoles that are buffing my phaser damage. Holy crap. So you can see how this has started to build into a very, very powerful build, very, very powerful phaser build on this ship. Really love it. This also increases auxiliary power setting, which is good because the higher auxiliary you have, the more critical severity and chance I have because of this console. See how it all ties together? It's synergistic. Synergistic, that's the word for today. And it really melds very well. All right, now let's go to the special ability for this ship. This is the Console Universal Tactical System Stabilizer. By having this on the ship, it has 2 passive abilities: improved energy weapon damage, like I needed more of that, and improves tactical bridge officer cooldowns, just by having it on the ship. Now, when I activate this, this is a weapon cycle haste buff, a bridge officer recharge, to self, a negative 5% recharge time on bridge officer abilities every 3 seconds for 30 seconds, 30% firing cycle haste for energy weapons for 30 seconds. So basically, if my, if my rapid fire, runs out or is on cooldown, I can enable that ability and get a haste on my weapons and kind of make up for losing that ability when it's on cooldown, which is really cool. Or I guess I could combine both of them together and see what they actually do combined together. Rapid fire plus haste. That's got to be something special. So, yeah, that's the ability that this ship comes with. So we'll activate it in battle and see, what it does and try different combinations of things. That's my build, and I gotta say, it has proven to be extremely powerful. Now let's look at the masteries that unlock. The first mastery that unlocks with this ship is a plus 5% accuracy. You'll gain that. The second one is a plus 5% defense. They're very small, but hey, at least it's something. The third one is a plus 10% all energy damage. Like I said, like we needed more, but there it is, plus 10% all energy damage and kinetic damage too. The fourth one is plus 15% critical severity, more crit D for the win. And then you got the final one called Regroup, which is the trait. Attack patterns reduce the engineering and temporal operative recharge time. It's a 15% recharge time reduction on those abilities. So 15%, it's not a huge amount, but hey, it's something, and it'll recharge your timers so you can get to using more abilities again. So that's basically it. But in order to use it, you have to have attack patterns. So, naturally, if you're flying an escort on a tactical, you want a lot of attack patterns. You want attack alpha, beta, gamma. You want those. And I don't have gamma on here. I don't really need gamma, but I do have alpha and beta. So if I hit alpha, I think it'll work with alpha. The recharge time should be reduced on like my bridge officer abilities. So let's hit like engineering team 2. So it's like, 30 second. If I hit that, I can't really tell that it did anything. Maybe it doesn't work with alpha. I don't know. It just says attack patterns. What we'll do is we'll do it again and we'll try beta. I think I have the trait active. Let me make sure I have the trait active. Yes, Starship trait regroup. Okay, the trait's active. That would be embarrassing. And we should see it down here too. It's called regroup reciprocity. So it's not here. Let's try it again. Yeah. And then let's hit beta. Okay, there it is. It popped up, didn't it? Popped up and went away. Did I miss it? Let's try that again. Oh, everything's on cooldown. Never mind. I'm gonna wait for that to cool down. We'll try it again. It might have popped up in here somewhere. Huh? I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing there. It says attack patterns, and it says it should on engineering abilities. So, huh? I don't know which engineering abilities it's talking about. I guess all of them. Oh yeah, there we go. Timer jumped down on that. I saw it that time. There it is. Emergency weapons cycle. Oh, that's on. Wonder why that's on. I got all kinds of things going on here. Okay, it did work. I saw it that time though. Rewind the video and check that out. When I hit beta, my time jumped down. So I don't know if it's just some engineering abilities it works on or if it doesn't work on all of them. It definitely worked on emergency power to weapons though. Maybe it doesn't hit every time. I'm not sure. It's there. It's turned on. Let's see, 45 seconds. I hit that and it jumped down to 37. Okay, so it's working. The trait is working. That's what I needed to know. The trait's working. Maybe some engineering abilities it doesn't work on and others it does. I'd have to go through like every engineering ability to find out which ones if that were true. Here's emergency power to shields. Let's try it and see what happens. Yeah, it worked on that one. Okay. Does it not work on engineering team? We'll try it again. I gotta know, guys. This is very important information. I have to know. I'll wait for that to cool down. I'm gonna try it on engineering team again. It definitely worked on emergency power to weapons and emergency power to shields. Maybe it's only emergency power things. Am I reading this right or wrong? It just says engineering bridge officer abilities. Okay, here we go. 30 seconds. Bump. Oh, okay, it jumped down. I saw it. It works. It works. Rewind the video. It did it. I don't know why it wasn't working before. Excuse me. Well, it's working. So there's the Starship trait for you. That's what it does. That's it. Let's see if it works with Alpha. Let everything cool down. I'm going to try it with Alpha and see if it works. So hit that. 45 seconds. Hit that. Maybe it doesn't work with Alpha. There's a lot of abilities like that where it says it works with like attack patterns but not Alpha. It's like, no, you can't have Alpha. So maybe it doesn't work with Alpha. I'll try it again a little bit later after everything's cooled down. Alright, but it definitely works with beta, and the trait is working. So we tested that, it's working. What else can we test while we're here in space? We can enable this ability, but it really won't do anything for us. That's what it looks like. Does a little thing. And then more weapon cycle haste. Now we have to wait for that to cool down. So we will see how that works in battle as well. Of course, everything else then is just based on whatever bridge officer powers you've chosen to use on your ship. You know, I've got things like Focused Frenzy, of course, Fire on My Mark. You have Tactical Fleet, the Radiant Subatomic Pulse from the Reputation. I've got Rapid Fire and Scatter Volley and High Yield and Spread and Beta and Alpha. And then to keep myself alive, I do have Emergency Power to Shields 3. I do have Hazard Emitters. I am using Lone Wolf from the specializations. So I've got these things going that will help me, you know, live. Here's the Battle Cloak. So you can set all your stuff, you know, while you're under Battle Cloak, sneak up right behind people and then uncloak and fire on them. And I believe there's a buff. Yeah, you've got a plus 3% flight speed and plus 50% defense right after decloaking. After decloaking, well, that's why you're cloaked. After decloaking, you have a plus 25% damage bonus for a brief duration. So there's even more damage bonus for you after decloaking, like you really need it. And then, of course, if you use the offensive configuration, you gain engine power, flight speed, and turn rate. And I always use that like I need more turn rate. But I can have it. Let's look at the stats. Here's where I'm sitting at. 310% power transfer rate. Some people say EPS is useless. EPS is useful. I don't know necessarily that this console is still useful. It's just a holdover because I don't have anything else right now to replace it. I need to get another console that has a high power transfer rate, but also does other things as well. I might look into the new Starbase K13 for options like that. But anyway, for right now, that's what I have. And it's giving me 310% power transfer rate, which I love, especially on a ship like this. It's going to be doing a whole lot of firing, like really rapid fire. Bonus defense is 36%. Let's see, my hull. Now, here's what I was talking about. The hull strength on the ship, you know, is not that good, but I do have two consoles buffing that together. And that's giving me 47, or right at 48,000 hull strength. So it's not as bad as it was without them. We can remove this, and I can show you what it is without them. Wait for it to catch up. So it's 44,000 without them. And then with both of them, it goes up to 48. And then you can see my shield strength as well is at 10.5. Not very high. This one increases shield strength, gets me up to 11.8. It helps a little bit. Not huge, but I'll take all I can get. The shield's already maxed out as far as it can go, so you know I don't really have a whole lot of shield capacity on this ship. And that's with two consoles that are buffing shield capacity. Remember, this one is plus 25%, no, plus 16.7% maximum shield capacity, and then this one is plus 25% maximum shield capacity. In fact, let's remove both of them. See what my shield capacity goes to 8.718. Wow. Yeah, not good. And then my my crit severity is very high. Actually, it'll be higher when I put this console back on. Check that out. 108% crit severity, 14.7 crit chance. Now you can see why I'm doing a lot of damage. My crit severity is like way up there. And then the resist, I know, but still 35%. So I'll take it. I'll take everything I can get on this thing to keep me alive, honestly. Now the turn rate was 22 by default. I'm buffed up to 54.9 degrees per second turn rate, so that's why I can like flip around in a circle and just like, yeah, like nobody's business. Look at that. Just look at that. That's crazy. Let's go to the bridge real quick. I'll just show you the bridge that it comes with. This is the typical Wells class 29th century bridge. Nothing specifically unique here. Again, they've kind of failed by not giving us a unique bridge for these 31st century ships. It reuses the 29th century Wells class bridge. So, poo-poo on that. Let's go down to Earth Space Dock, and we'll take a quick look at any customizations we can make on this ship, because I think similar to the other ones, there's really none. Let's go down. We'll go to the ship Taylor here, take a quick look, and then we'll get into some battle, because combat is really the best way for me to show you what this ship can do, what it's capable of. Customize ship. So here it is. You can see the template is called Nautilus, even though the class of the ship is called Ouroboros. I would have thought the template would have also been called Ouroboros, but whatever. There it is. No templates to change. Cannot even change the bridge. You're only locked into that one bridge. No window types. No material changes. Nothing. No style changes. You can change the pattern. That's it. And there's no unique patterns either to go with that. You can change the pattern and the color of the pattern. That's it. So basically, what is really going to separate this ship from other ships in the game, or other people that have this ship in the game, is simply going to be what shield you put on it and what shield effects cover the ship. That's what's going to separate this ship from others. And I have a great combo that I use. I like to use the Terran Task Force shield. So this is a Terran Task Force shield. And I'm going to use the Omega engines on this one. And check out how good this looks. Look at that. Totally transforms the ship and makes it so much better. I love that. It looks great. That's how I fly this ship. And that is how I'm going to fly this ship in this review today. Just give y'all a nice view of it there. Very, very cool looking. I think it's a sharp looking ship. I mean that literally and figuratively. It's a sharp looking ship. Alright, the next bit of business is for us to go into battle and to demonstrate these things. I want to first try to demonstrate some of the features of the ship, you know, that are native to the ship for reasons why you would buy the ship first. And then we'll just go out into all battle and stuff. So I'm going to start with some patrols. Because what I want to demonstrate, first of all, I've already demonstrated the trait, the Starship trait. So you saw what that did. The next thing to demonstrate is the Raider flanking. And to show you how when you creep up behind somebody, you can do more damage. And then the other thing is to use the overload tactical systems and see how that weapon cycle haste stuff works. And because that's the unique console for the ship. So we'll do those two things. And then we'll just go out and just wreak havoc on the galaxy. Before we do that real quick, I will show you, because I almost forgot this, show you what my DPS is on my weapons currently. Nothing's running right now, or nothing's being buffed, you know, by any power right now. My dual heavy cannon up front is doing, my Andorian one, is doing 2280 DPS and 3420 phaser damage. Just way much more than my Science or that Dreadnought was doing right off the bat. 2280, 3420. And then the Quantum Catalyst one is 2157 DPS and 3235 phaser damage. That's a lot. 717 DPS on the torpedo, but look at that kinetic damage. 7,000 kinetic damage on that torpedo, and that's without buffing anything right now. Even my turrets in the back are doing good DPS. 1179 DPS out of a turret, and 884 phaser damage. That's really cool. Now remember, all those things can be buffed. I can do emergency power to weapons. That's going to increase my weapon damage. I can enable tactical fleet. That's all damage. I can enable Radiant Subatomic Pulse. That's all damage. I can enable Alpha. That's all damage. That's right. Don't forget your Alpha. Plus 49.8% all damage for 30 seconds. I can enable all those things. You want to see what my DPS goes up to on these weapons, guys? You want to see what the phaser damage goes up to? So keep in mind, 2280. We're at 2280 DPS, and we're at 3420 phaser. 3420 phaser. Whew. Watch this. Bam. 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 4569 DPS and 6854 phaser damage out of one dual heavy cannon. Whew. I think I'm ready to do some killing. What do you guys think? Let's do that. I'm going to wait for these things to cool down actually now, because I want to use them. That's on a 2-minute cooldown. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to let my stuff cool down. I'm going to head out to a patrol and get ready, and I will start the recording again right when we get there, so that we can test out these abilities. How does that sound? Oh, you know what? I forgot another all damage. That's right. Coming out of Decloak, you get a plus 25% damage bonus for a brief duration. I could have added that to it too. So many things to increase my damage, I forget what all is actually increasing my damage anymore, because it's like everything is at this point on this ship. Seriously, when you enable everything, you just obliterate everything with this ship. Okay, I'll pause the video and we'll come right back and we will start obliterating things. Okay, welcome back everybody. Here we are at Karaya. I like this one because it's Romulans. I know what I'm dealing with Romulans. So we're going to try all these features out. Like I said, I want to show you Raider flanking. I want to show you the console ability, the cycle haste and all that. And of course, we've already seen the Starship trait in action, so that'll just happen naturally as I use my beta ability, I guess. Not quite sure still yet if alpha works. Got to try that later. But for sure beta does, so we will be using that. So that'll just occur naturally as I'm, playing. Nothing really to notice there too much. Other than that, that's the unique abilities of the ship, so there's not much else to show you as far as like the natural abilities of the ship, other than just how the ship maneuvers and how it turns and how you would fly the ship and that sort of thing. Very, go in and shoot and come out kind of gameplay, cat and mouse, I don't know what you call it. Use battle cloak. So that's how we're going to do things. Let's see what happens. The very first thing I'm going to hit is, of course, Battle Cloak. And my offensive configuration, which just makes me turn even more crazy. Now, what I'm doing here is I want to pull up behind the enemy because I want to show you Raider flanking. So, here, we're behind this Tadaridex, right? Now that was basically it. You just get up right behind them and fire on them. Now, I was not fully buffed. I forgot to do my alpha. And of course, I didn't do tactical and all that stuff. So I could have buffed it. I didn't even do radiant subatomic. I could have done so many other things. All I did was emergency powered weapons and rapid fire. The goal there was just to show you how Raider flanking works. How you get behind them and then you fire on them. Like so. That's basically Raider flanking. So if you can get behind the enemy or shoot at them from the rear, you're going to get that extra bonus damage. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's just about how you fly. Alright, let's try the other one here. Here's a Mogai. Let's do the cycle haste, and I'm not going to buff my rapid fire yet. Let's just do cycle haste by itself. Darn it, I'm caught no thing.
Target shield has
failed. My maneuvering was terrible on that. Sorry about that. I admit to get to the Mogai and fire at it, and then I was turned the wrong way, so I apologize. We'll do that again. We'll let that reset, and we'll do that again properly. In the meantime, this is a combo I like. I'm not even going to hit all my buffs yet. Let's wait. And everything's dead. Everything goes bye-bye. We've got another Mogai here. I want to wait for this to cool down because I want to do that cycle haste. I want to do it by itself, but then I want to also combine it with a rapid fire and see if that makes a difference too. But yeah, I'm just waiting for that to cool down. So I haven't even buffed all my stuff, you know, and I've basically been doing emergency power here, maybe alpha. But I still got radiant subatomic pulse. I still got tactical fleet. So many other things to do more damage with. Okay, it's cooled down. Let's go up to it. That's basically it. What are they shooting at over here? Like one scorpion fighter that won't die. Jeez. It's like the invincible scorpion fighter. They finally got it. Oh, wow. Well, that took ages. Let me fire without the cycle haste so you can see what it looks like without it.
Below 75%.
You can see what I mean about glass cannon. I take damage very easily, and that's even with all the things that I have there in engineering. So what I noticed is without the console ability there, it was like it went dun dun dun, and then there was a pause, and then it went like dun dun dun, firing, and a pause, dun dun dun, firing, and a pause. But with the cycle haste, it was more consistent. It was more. It didn't go dun 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 and then pause. It was like just keep firing and not pause. So it does help. It does help. But I want to see what it can do in combination with rapid fire. But I need a big fat enemy for that, so we need another Mogai or something. So let me kill these guys and get them out of the way.
Ship is under attack. Target shields have failed.
More warbirds. Let me clear these guys out of the way.
Target shields have failed.
Let's see if we can get a Mogai. I got one guy out here. Who are you? A light warbird? You're causing trouble, huh?
Ship is under attack.
Scorpion fighter. Another scorpion fighter. Look at that.
Target shields have failed.
Oh, I'm done. Oops. Oh well. We'll go to another patrol then. Fine. I didn't realize we were at the end there. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's do another one. I know where we'll go next. We'll go to Japori and we'll take out that capital ship. No, it's not a capital ship. Battleship or whatever it is. and we'll use the console overload tactical systems plus rapid fire, and we'll see if that does a thing. Yeah, so basically, the ship's just powerful anyway. I mean, geez. Doing a lot of damage and liking it. Let's go a little faster. A long load time. Come on. You can do it. Go to Japori. I know you can. I don't like this sometimes. Don't know why it does that. This is a fun ship, though. Honestly, I'm having a lot of fun. I have actually played through a whole series of missions with it. I did all of Future Proof with this ship. So I played that last one, Ragnarok, where you have like a ton of sphere builders and other things or whatever and stuff, and that's a tough one. I blew up several times, but I was able to take out the ships very easily with this ship. So let's do the Talon here, and we'll just do that and then that and then that. Oh wow. What I think that the haste is doing is it's removing that pause after firing. It's removing that pause that the weapons have to do after they all fire and cycle. That's what it's doing. I really like that. That's what I like doing. When I can take out a group like that with like one hit, that brings me enjoyment. Note, I haven't even used Radiant Subatomic Pulse and TAC Fleet yet. Haven't even used them yet. I mean, I'll even do more damage when I use those things. I mean, it's like I don't even need them. I mean, when it's that easy to kill everything. I mean, seriously, guys, when it's that easy to kill everything, I don't even need to buff all my damage and stuff. Now, of course, I will, because we're going to do some harder things. We are definitely going to do some harder things. I have not yet demonstrated the destabilizing beam, the molecular beam, as well, so I need to do that. Let's go out into space, and let's do a Borg red alert and a Tholian red alert. I really like those red alerts. They're fun to do. So let's get into one of them. Both of them. Borg. Let's go to the Borg. Now, with the Borg, you really got to watch it with this ship because the Borg can tear down your shields very quickly. And on this ship, that's a bad thing, a very bad thing, because you don't have a lot of hull. You are going to die fast. I may, in fact, blow up in this red alert you're about to see. And that's just simply because the Borg really have some devastating weapons that, you know, tear you down. But on the flip side of that, I can do a lot of damage to them also. So, you know, you just got to understand what you're playing and what alien type you're playing, what kind of weapons they're using against you, and that sort of thing.
You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded.
Okay, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to cloak. Now, I'm going to go ahead and buff all my things here. Well, not all of them, but some of them.
Target shields have failed.
So that was easy. That was certainly extremely easy. Let's go to this cube over here. I want to try to do some solo.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target shields have failed. Four shields failing. Rear shields failing.
You will be assimilated.
Hull integrity below 75%. Target shields have failed. Four shields failing.
Gotta heal from each battle, because this ship, let me tell you, these guys are just floating out there. Let's go to this one over here. I don't want to get rid. I don't want to use all my powers. I don't want them all to be on cooldown because we're gonna hit the main boss here in a second. Oh, well.
We have the Borg.
Under attack. Target shields have failed. Four shields failing.
Sweet, got him. Got him. Got him. Now we got the boss, but now all my powers are on cooldown. Oh, that one's not. Oh, where'd it go? There we go.
Resistance detected. Moon Matrix 004 will be held by engaging an airlock.
Target shields have failed.
Disarm your weapons. You will escort us to your own boat, where we will begin assimilating your culture and technology. Your defensive capabilities are unable to withstand us. Lower your shields and
That was fun. That was fun and quick and easy. I just run in circles around this thing. I don't even think everybody got to the thing. I think like one person got to this thing. Everyone else, I don't think they even got to this thing before I killed it. That just shows you how powerful this thing really is. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just blowing away everything. I mean, you just don't understand. This thing is just blowing everything. Let's go to the Tholians. Yep. So good, so good. I forgot I can reduce cooldowns too with tactical initiative. I don't fly escorts very often, to be honest with you. I don't really spend a lot of time on this character, which I should and need to. I need to practice more. But I sometimes forget the abilities I have as a tactical captain on this ship. Tactical initiative will also reduce bridge officer recharge times. Need to use that one more, but it's got a long cooldown time. Let's kill some Tholians, shall we? What fun! It actually is a lot of fun. I can't turn. They got me in a tractor beam. Ow.
Rear shields failing. 4 shields failing. Target shields have failed.
Stupid
Rear shield
thing.
failing. Left
Get me out of here.
failing. Right shield failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Oh boy. That that was a load of fun, actually. Well, let's digest that for a second. The part I really hated was when they caught me in a Tholian web, and I couldn't get out. I was so close to the target point of the web in the corners, you know, where you target them and stuff. I was trying to like punch through it and fire at it, but I was too close to it. I should have backed up and fired at it. So I hated that. That was extremely annoying. One thing you might have seen me do a lot during that video is you got to be extremely active in hitting your healing powers, like a lot. You know, emergency power to shields, engineering team, science team, lone wolf, beta, which I get a buff from the one of the specializations, I think under pilot or something. When I hit beta, it gives me temporary hull strength, a 5,000 temporary hit points. Things like that are extremely important to stay alive in this ship. So you have to actively, feverishly hit all your powers and constantly heal yourself and get out of damage, get out of the way if you're taking a whole lot of damage, which I did a couple of times. If you're taking a whole lot of damage, you just got to back off. And then you can fly back in and do something. And actually, since I have Battle Cloak, I could have Battle Cloaked during the battle, because you can do that. That's why it's called Battle Cloak. You can be firing on somebody and actually Battle Cloak can still be under red alert and still Battle Cloak out of there. So there are ways like that with this ship to retreat, basically. There are things like that with this ship that you need to do to survive, especially when there's like a lot of enemies like that was. That was a lot. That was really spread out. But this ship was totally obliterating everything in the process. So, hey, good on it. Let us do, let's go to, where am I thinking? Let's go to the Delta Quadrant. And let's do that one that we did last time. I think it was the Chevolia system. Was it Chevolia? No, it was Pensarka. And let's do that one because it's a whole lot of Vodwar, and the Vodwar NPCs are quite tough in this game. And they have an ability that can do a lot of damage to a ship. While we are traveling down there, you know, I don't know what else I can think to show you guys. Obviously, unless you have the quantum catalyst, phase catalyst powers, you are not going to have the destabilizing beam like I do. Now, if you get that set, you will have the destabilizing beam, and I like it. It does phaser damage to the enemies. It's good. It's a good ability. It's just an extra ability I have, right? I mean, how does that hurt? Now, the molecular deconstruction beam, that one is comes with every temporal ship. I actually did use it. It's basically physical damage to the enemy, and it ignores shields. So you can do a massive... I would save it for the bosses. Save it for the big ships, the capital ships, the battleships, the big ones, the cubes, you know, that sort of thing. And use it on those ships because that's where it's going to inflict the most damage for you and help. The console here with the haste, I do really like it. In combination with rapid fire and even scatter volley, it does help. It reduces that cycle time between your weapons cycling. I notice it. I see the difference that it's making. So it is a useful thing to have on a ship like this where you're going to have those weapon cycles. Now the trait, the Starship trait, That one's hard to recognize simply because it's just a cooldown on bridge officer abilities. So, you know, it's happening. I'm using it, I guess, when I hit my beta, but, you know, it's only 15%. I can also do that with just a tactical ability called Tactical Initiative, which also does that as well. It's not as big, though, as that one. It's very small. This one's much more smaller than that one, obviously. But, hey, it's there. Everything else is just going to be based on whatever powers you choose, whatever bridge officer powers. Remember, this ship also supports temporal powers as well, temporal abilities, bridge officer abilities, which I'm not even using here. So there are other abilities you can equip on this ship. Was it Pansarka? Oh, you know what? I forgot the name of the system that that I went to last time. Shoot. Maybe it was Chavolia. No. Darn it. Sorry, guys. I thought I remembered what. I thought I remembered right. I did not remember right. And I'm completely drawing a blank now on what system it is. If it's not Cartella, I'm going to have to go patrol hopping. No, but Cartella doesn't have one. Alright, I'm going to pause the video, guys, because I want to find this system. I'm going to go patrol hopping and see if I can rediscover what system it was, because I completely forgot. Ha! Well, stupid on me, guys. It was that planet back down there. I believe it was Pansarka. The reason why I can't get into it yet, I didn't even realize this, I have not finished all of the missions in the Delta Quadrant on this character. Check this out. All the way down to... Oh, here we go. Revolution. Hail. And then taking care of enemies. That's why I can't do it, because it's part of taking care of enemies. And, well, I have not done that yet. So I can't even hail it yet, because I got to finish the missions above it. So, yeah, I had not realized I didn't finish all of the Delta Quadrant missions on this character. So that's why I cannot go to that patrol. So I apologize about that. Can't do that one, so let's just go to a well-known one. Let's go to Argala. Well, that's well-known, and we'll let that be the last one we do. And I'm just going to go all out in this one, guys. I'm not going to commentate much. I'm basically just going to sit back and take everything out as fast as possible. And I'm going to use all my powers and abilities and concentrate on that. So I'm probably not going to be speaking much during this patrol, but then after the patrol I will. After the patrol we'll go back to our space dock and I'll summarize my thoughts on this ship, its abilities, and their value and all that good stuff. So this will be our last one, and I'm just gonna, man, I'm just gonna go knock it all out as fast as I can. If we can get there. The one thing is that I'm very slow to move in space. Only doing warp 10.44. How slow. And my slipstream doesn't even go that fast. But I'll get there eventually. Yeah, this ship, man. I love this ship. I've grown to love it. It is a powerhouse, an absolute powerhouse. I don't know if I would make this my permanent ship, you know, to use in the long term, but it's definitely fun to play with, because I think there are some other good escorty type ships out there that can also do damage like this ship, but are just a bit tankier. I know because I've used them before. There are ships that exist like that. But for a raider, this is a pretty pimp raider. Come on, let's go. Alright, so like I said, guys, sit back, relax, and just enjoy me killing everything. And there you go, everybody's dead. That is what they say is that. Wow, guys, I mean, just obliterated everything. What a great ship for doing a lot of damage. If you are a DPSer, if you're looking for a ship that can just do a lot of damage, this ship is right up your alley. If you're looking for a ship that can tank or, you know, take a lot of damage, this is not the ship for you. This ship is very glassy. So let me tell you my first impressions when I got this ship. When I first unpacked it and took it into battle, I was depressed because the ship was blowing up a lot for me before I like tweaked it all and everything. It was extremely glassy. Let me just say extremely glassy, more so than I like. So I didn't think that I was really going to like this ship all that well. I really did not. However, after I spent more time with it and properly developed it and built up some better defenses and things to make it less glassy and really beefed up the damage on it and everything, then I began to like it. And then I was like, oh, I can just go into anything. I can go into any patrol. I can go into any in-game STF. I can do anything and just destroy the enemy, no matter who or what they are, just easily, really with no effort. STFs are fun. You can play STFs with your teammates with this ship and do a lot of damage. Just watch out for some of those attacks, you know, because you can take a lot. You cannot take a lot of damage. So you got to watch out. You know, go in, back off, go in, back off. Flying this sort of ship involves a different kind of piloting skill than a slower ship. You've got to move around a lot. That increases your defense, by the way, when you do that. The faster you fly actually does increase your defense. You need to go in and back off. You need to learn when to back off and not stay there in one spot. Like with a big fat ship that's like can tank a lot, you can stay in one place and just, you know, pound on them. With this, nah. Go in, do your strikes, pull out, go back in. It's a different way of piloting. You've got to learn that and pilot it that way, because what you don't want to do is just be explodey all the time. But if you just stay there, you will. So, you know, you got to learn that with this ship. It's a different style of ship, a different type of flying. But if you like that and enjoy that, then this ship is just way up your alley. If you don't like that, then it's not. Now let's talk about the value of the items on the ship. Number one, the Starship trait. Meh. All it does is reduce the cooldown on engineering and temporal bridge officer abilities. Okay. Maybe that's very useful if you're using both a lot of engineering and a lot of temporal powers. I don't have any temporal bridge officer powers in use on this ship right now, but if I did, then I could see how that would be a little more beneficial. But for me right now, not using temporal operative powers, it's only reducing the time on my engineering abilities. And remember, as a tactical officer, you already have an ability that does that called Tactical Initiative. So it's a little redundant in that way. Also, there's other ways to reduce bridge officer times, and that just depends on your skill setup. Like if you go down here to the bottom, you could put stuff into tactical readiness, which will reduce the recharge time and all that stuff. So there are ways beyond that trait to get better cooldown times on your abilities. So you don't have to have that trait. So I don't find the trait extremely useful, but that's just my opinion. Now, as for the console, I find the console useful, but only on a ship like this. Like I wouldn't find that console so extremely useful on a science or a cruiser vessel. This is more so for a vessel that's going to do a whole lot of firing quickly. Cannons, really, cannons are probably the best use of this console, because it reduces that cycle time greatly, and you can do a whole lot more cannon damage with it. So I think it's useful, but in limited and certain circumstances. Now the ship itself, obviously, it's got the molecular reconstruction or deconstruction ability. So it comes with basically extra weaponry. That is very powerful to the ship. That allows it to do even more damage. So when you combine all of that, the ship itself is actually really good. I just don't think that the console and the traits are that imaginative. They're not that creative or out of the box in thinking. But I can see how it all ties together. There is some kind of synergy there. I can see how it all ties together. I do like this ship, but like I said, I don't know if I would use this ship as a permanent ship. And the reason why is because I know there are escort ships out there that can do damage just like this ship. It can do a ton of damage, but yet they do tank a little bit better than this ship, and they're not as glassy. I know they exist because I've used some in the past, And certainly things have to be better now. Even though I haven't used a ton of escort type ships, I know that they exist out there. There are a lot of new ones, tier 6 ships that I haven't looked at yet. So I could probably find a ship that was a little bit better in those areas compared to this. But we also have to consider it as a different class of ship. It's a raider, so it's going to be that way. And as far as raiders go, I think it's at the top of its food chain in terms of raiders. It's right there at the top of its food chain in raiders, for sure. I just know that there are probably better balanced escorts out there. But anyway, it's a good ship nonetheless. Does it fit well in the 31st century line of starships? Because we have this basically series of starships, right? We go to ships, we go to tier 6. It's a bundle. 31st century temporal ship bundle. Does it fit within this bundle? I think it does. I think they all fit together pretty well. I just wish maybe the hull strength on this ship was a little bit higher. We've got to imagine or think, or they're telling us basically right here, these ships are from the 31st century. We're talking 31st century, guys. I mean, that's way ahead of even the 29th century wells that we saw in Voyager. This is way up there. The hull strength on a ship like this should be a lot better, in my opinion, because you would think they would have developed some kind of material that is still light and malleable, but just way more, you know, able to take damage or absorb damage, or maybe even use organic technology, you know, so it can absorb damage better. Those things would have improved by that time. So I think the hull strength on a 30, just thinking logically about, you know, future ships in Star Trek, a 31st century ship should just be out of this world in the kind of damage that it could take on with 26th or 25th century ships. Remember, in this game we're in the 25th century, so we got 31st century ships in the 25th century, so it should really be having no problem. I understand you can't really have that, because then it would be op and everyone would want that ship and so forth. But anyway, I'm just saying, logically, the hull strength should be a lot better than it is. But it does fit within these three categories of ships they have here: a science ship, the dreadnought, and then the escort, or raider, I guess they call it. It's a good combination of ships. It really is. It really is. So this whole 31st century ship bundle, in my opinion, it has been a win. I think a lot of people do enjoy these three ships, or at least one of these ships from this bundle. They've been very popular. I've heard a lot of people talk about them or want them. So I think that they put together a good bundle here. I wish they had gone a little bit farther in some areas. Like, I wish they had given us unique bridges on each ship. A 31st century bridge that's unique to each ship. I wish they had given us way more customization options, because basically we have nothing right now. I want skin or texture options. I want parts options. I want to switch parts in and out. Imagine taking these three ships and being able to exchange parts on their ship and kind of make like a hybrid ship of your own design. Wouldn't that be awesome? So interchangeable parts that you could, you know, change in the tailor would be great. Yeah, you know, those things right there alone would just make it a little more customizable. And then I think maybe a little bit more thought into some of the traits. I think some of the traits could use a little bit more thought, especially the trait on this one. And I think I might have mentioned a console or a trait or whatever on a previous 31st century ship that also needed a little more thought. And, you know, and then these would just be outright killer ships. Yeah. But as a whole, they've done a good job. I guess I'll give them an A. Not an A+. Just an A. An A. These ships get an A. This bundle gets an A. If you're really looking for a good, you know, ship to play in this game, these ships are pretty good ships to play. Just note that there's like two extremes here. You have this dreadnought cruiser, which is very slow, and it's big, And then you have the opposite, which is the Ouroboros here, that is extremely quick and maneuverable, but can't take a lick of damage. And then in the middle you have the science ship. And I think out of all of these, the science ship is probably the most balanced. It's actually more maneuverable than the Dreadnought is. And it, I think, is more balanced in terms of taking damage and doing damage, possibly as well. So the science ship might actually be the middle ship in this, you know, the ship that kind of balances out the two. You've got these like one extreme over here, one extreme over here, and then this one kind of sits in the middle. Really liking the science ship, I have to say. Go check out my review on it, because I've made a couple, actually. I made 2 reviews on this ship because it's so good, the science one. So I think I lean more toward liking the science one the most. I would go science cruiser or science escort cruiser. Yeah, that's how I would rank them, but that's just me. Well, guys, I'm going to end this review here. Let me know what you think of this ship and all these ships in the comments. Do you have this ship? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you plan to get it after watching this video? Be very interested in hearing all your feedback. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.